Hello, I'm Dr. Terry James Gingras, and this is Dr. G's ADHD Chat, the show trying to make the world safe for ADHDers. I am a clinical psychologist, and I'm also the father of two ADHD kids, and I'm married into a whole family of ADHDers. And as I look at my own family, I think I have some of that as well. But we're trying to get so that people don't look at ADHD as a super disability. It's a difference. I mean, definitely. And most of the problems are that the world is not really designed for an ADHD mind. It's designed for a neurotypical, I can sit still for hours kind of mind. Today, I want to talk about coaching versus psychotherapy. Now, I'm in the middle of a coaching certification program. It's like the eighth or ninth time I've been through it, but it still well, renews me and refreshes me a little bit and uh, reminds me of some things that I sometimes forget over time. But anyway, coaching uh, is becoming a very hot sort of technique, I guess we'll call it. I have, when I first started out with coaching, it was you had to explain to them that no, I don't have a whistle around my neck or any, and I don't make people do push-ups or that sort of thing. No, that's not what this kind of coaching is. And it's a treatment approach that's almost like it was designed for ADHD. That so many of the uh, procedures and techniques are really what an ADHDer wants, and I'll go over some of these. And I mean, the biggest one probably first is that coaching is very action oriented. It's you're always looking at specific goals and making it so you come out of there with I'm going to do this week and that sort of thing, and it happens over and over again. Whereas a lot of psychotherapy involves past experiences and emotions and that sort of stuff. Coaching is pretty much behaviorally oriented, and the strategies and the techniques are all pretty practical. Okay, there's strategies and tools. Oh, you want to establish a routine for the kids. This is one of the ways, the best ways probably to do it, and it's all behavioral and applied. You don't spend a lot of time with what we used to call navel gazing, uh, and so it also, and I think probably the biggest thing is that it focuses on strengths. It focuses on the ADHDers' strengths and potential. You know that ADHDers can do anything, but it has to be something they like. And that's where having somebody actually look at strengths and say, "Oh, yeah, this is a really good fit." You know, you want your child to play baseball, probably you want him to be a catcher or a pitcher or maybe a first baseman at best, but you don't want him in right field because he'll just be picking butterflies off of buttercups or something. Okay. So focusing on strengths and potential is an advantage of coaching, whereas psychotherapy is pretty much deficit focused. You're looking at you feel depressed, we're going to try to do something to improve your mood. You're feeling anxious, we're going to try to reduce that. It's more that focus than, wow, you're really great at music. What can we do with that? And so on. Uh, the other thing is it's every treatment approach. I mean, there are some general rules, but pretty much every treatment approach is individualized. It's specific, custom, if you will, for the ADHD patient. I'm sorry, the ADHD client. I have some old psychotherapy habits, and so it's I mean, it's totally designed for you and what you're trying to get out of the treatment. And then there's the other thing is it's all about goal setting and accountability. You come up with a plan, and then it's the coach spends some time making sure you're following the plan, and if you're not, why you're having troubles with it, and that sort of thing. Uh, the psychotherapy is it's more, are you making progress in understanding what's going on with you and why you're feeling depressed or that sort of thing. Uh, and then the other thing that is specifically like, oh, ADHDers love this, and it's very short term. I mean, you're making changes, that you hope will be lifelong, but you're going to make them change, and it's going to be right away, and it's very solution focused, uh, and you want to see quick improvements, and that's fits right into the mindset of your typical ADHD person. Whereas, psychotherapy, it's more about understanding, and, it's not a lot about understanding yourself. I mean, and a lot of it is not about longer term. I mean, it's a lot about it. The eventual goal is to be, fully functioning and all that stuff. But it's not something that is typically focused on fast results. Whereas coaching focuses on almost immediate stuff because we're working with your strengths. We're not working to correct your differences or your deficits, your weaknesses. We're working with your strength areas and trying to make them better, and trying to make it work better for you in your life. The psychotherapy has a lot of different kinds of approaches. It has, you know, most popular program now is probably cognitive therapy, which is focusing on how what you think uh, controls your emotions. Where uh, coaching is uh, pretty strongly focused on just behaviors. We want to. You can't seem to finish tasks on time. Let's look at some behaviors that will help you make your tasks faster. We'll do the Pomodoro technique where you work for 30 or 40 minutes and then you take 10 minutes and take a walk or shake yourself or something and get ready for the next task that you need to do. But it's very behavioral, and developing new habits that work for you. A lot of times we think of habits as being bad things, but actually habits are very helpful. What you do is you have a routine. You have a task you've got to do. You establish a routine for it. The longer you follow the routine, the more it becomes a habit, and it's just something you do without ever having to think about it, which is real helpful. And then the entire approach to coaching, and one of the reasons I like it a lot is that it's more collaborative. It's not like a clinical relationship where I'm the doctor and I am in charge and we're going to, it's, hey, what do you think we should do about this? What do you, da da da. I've heard that this works. What do you think? Would you like to try that? Kind of more that way. Not that, there isn't some expertise on the coach's part, but there is less the one up, one down kind of power structure that you frequently get in. Oh, you've got your name on the door. It says doctor. I must have to do what you say. Uh, and then you go home and don't do it. But that's a whole different story. But it is a more collaborative relationship, and that's people like that better. Everybody likes something that they helped create, and they'll defend something that they helped create, and that's one of the things you're trying to do in coaching. And it's well, that's one of the reasons I'm doing it. I like it. and it's an effective process. And it's help. I mean, it doesn't mean your coach doesn't have some expertise. He or she certainly should have some expertise, and sometimes you find sometimes you find therapists who aren't very good at what they do. They just took a lot of courses, but never really worked on developing the skills, and that's everywhere. So, and then the next thing is that coaches spend a lot of time working with motivation and encouragement. I mean, it is one of the things that you need to do every session, and therapists they don't focus on that as much. They're looking for insight, understanding, uh, and it's the kind of abstract sort of thing that ADHDers sometimes have troubles with. And I mean, everybody likes encouragement, even us rough, tough guys. We like secretly, probably secretly, to be encouraged. That helps everybody. I mean, everybody's more motivated towards a goal rather than to avoid a punishment. That's one thing all animal trainers know. You don't punish. Punishment doesn't work. Reinforcement, reward for doing the jump or running the course or whatever your dog is doing, say. Uh, and it's the same thing applies to people. If we know we're going to be rewarded, if we know this is going to be an environment or a situation, where I'm going to leave feeling better and having a plan, something I'm going to do, and that's going to make my life better, easier, less painful, all that sort of thing. Hey, why not? And then before COVID, one of the big advantages of coaching versus psychotherapy was that coaches frequently, I mean, pretty much always have either worked they used to work over the telephone, and then with all electronics and all that stuff, most everybody is now on Zoom or one of those internet things that allows you to present information to people. Then, of course, we had COVID, and then so what they call telepsychology, which is just that kind of thing where you're doing your therapy over the phone or on a Zoom channel or Doxy.me or one of those kind of programs. But you're talking into your computer screen like I'm doing now, and that was, I mean, the reason that psychotherapy was mostly done in person. You would have to drive to my office, and well, first you make an appointment, then you drive to my office, then we meet face to face, kind of thing. And then with COVID, the insurance companies started allowing what they call telepsychology, which is working over the internet, basically. The prior to that, they would not reimburse the therapist for doing telepsych kinds of things, like over the phone or whatever. Hey, call me up if you've done this or that sort of thing. You don't get reimbursed for that. So you had to, go through all the hassle of getting transportation to the office and finding parking and all those other things, driving in traffic, or to help you if you schedule an appointment during rush hour and so on. But with COVID and everybody having to stay home for extended periods of time, the insurance companies started letting us do things over the phone, and so far they've let it continue. Now, I don't want to get into a diatribe about health insurance, but they're probably going to go back to trying to get everybody to do their psychotherapy in person in the office. I don't know why, because the research has been pretty conclusive that telepsych and approaches over the internet and that sort of thing are uh, as effective as one-on-one in person. So, but we know science is not ruling the day or in the world. Uh, but so we may, I'm not sure, but we may have to go back to the one-on-ones in person. And I don't know. I have some patients that I've kept, even though I'm largely retired from private practice. I've kept a few patients that, well, I just kept a few of them, and I don't know what we'll do if they start limiting us. And the talks are in progress now as to whether telepsych is going to be continued. And will so that's one of the big unsures in the world right now, or in my world anyway. So, uh, and in general, the coaching is like a more immediate, practical, strength-based approach, and it really works well with ADHD. It's kind of like it was designed for ADHDers, but uh, sometimes, I mean, a lot of ADHD folks are dual diagnosed or more than dual diagnosed. They have a number of diagnoses, anxiety, depression, in addition to the ADHD. In my opinion, probably brought on a lot by the ADHD, but still, uh, they they have these other difficulties, and so may need both psychotherapy and coaching. There's no rule that says you can't do both. And I know a lot of people, a lot of coaches anyway, who work pretty closely with psychotherapists. Uh, so that may be something you need in your particular situation to think about and consider uh, having you integrating both. And, we don't hate each other. Well, and a lot of us that are psychotherapists are also coaches, so not usually a huge problem. Okay, there are a number of other differences, but this is a pretty good list of the kinds of things that you should be looking for or considering when you're trying to deal with your own particular ADHD situation. Uh, and I'm still Dr. Terry James Gingras, and this is still Dr. G's ADHD Chat. My website is terrygingrasphd.com, and you can sign up for well, I don't know, what are we going to call it, a screening interview? Anyway, it's just a informal, no cost session where we see if we can work together and we think this is a good fit. There are sometimes there aren't good fits, people who are just too different or something like that to really be comfortable with each other. And that's okay. You've got to expect that. But uh, I invite you to seriously consider coaching and do some research. Look it up and look at some of the big coaching programs. So we will catch you on the next session, and in the meantime, let's continue trying to make the world safe for ADHD. See ya.